Good morning, everybody. We'll go ahead and get started. My name is Ernie, as it plainly says up there. I did this last year, Affiliate Summit in Miami, and I actually got this get-up for Miami. You know, it's just perfect Miami clothes. And I got lucky enough when I was in Miami last year to be like I am this time at the Satellite Hotel. It was about 4 blocks away. Had to walk before my presentation. By the time I got to the place, I was just soaking wet. And so nothing's changed this year. You know, by the time I walked here, I was soaking wet. So didn't expect this in Boston. I'm from Boston originally. August is usually pretty hot here, and I'm kind of surprised. But how many Red Sox fans do we have in the house? All right, good. You guys should come down and get to know them. So I'm going to give out candy later to whoever answers some questions or wants to help participate in this. But you guys, just because you're Red Sox fans, you don't get anything. Okay. Let's go ahead and talk about what this presentation is supposed to be all about. How many of you feel like you know about what Web 2.0 is and have used it in your affiliate promotions?
I'm using it, but I don't know if I know what it is.
Okay, that's good. Anybody else? Okay, how about how many of you would say of those that are using it would say they're using it in an advanced way? Not just using a widget that you got from somebody, but using it for advanced concepts in Web 2.0. Anybody? Okay, well, as we go through, we'll talk to what some of those are. Some of you may be using it in advanced ways, just don't either want to admit to it, because I find affiliates are pretty close hell when they talk. They don't want to talk about what they're doing. They don't want somebody else to steal their ideas, and that's perfectly fine. So here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to first get on the same page, hopefully, in what Web 2.0 is. If you look around the web, Web 2.0 is defined in a whole lot of different ways. And what I'm going to try to do is at least give you what I found to be my definition, along with what some other people think about what Web 2.0 is. And then we'll talk about a little bit, just very shortly, about traditional creative, so we know what Web 2.0 is not. And then we'll go into looking at Web 2.0 and breaking it down into 3 different areas. The typical creatives, the easy ones that you can go and get and utilize on your site. Tools that you could use, actually Web 2.0 tools, not necessarily tools that will help you promote, but will help you to manage your promotions. And then we'll talk about the more advanced things, the techniques and strategies that some people are using to make Web 2.0 really work for them on the web. And that's what Web 2.0 uses. And I'm going to ask throughout, if you have any questions, feel free to ask throughout. But later, certainly, if we have any time left over, I'd like to ask you to participate. If you have any ideas that you've shared that you could share with the group, you probably, some of you out there probably know more about this than I do, so you probably should be giving a presentation. So let's start off with a little quiz, and I'm going to give out some candy down here to anybody who answers the question correctly. I'm not above bribery, so that's why I do that. And so we'll start with this first question. Which of the following would you not classify as Web 2.0? Anybody want to raise a hand, take a gander at that? I got a hand back here. E, okay. I would say that E is correct. Now A's I think confusing because A is AdSense. I would consider it like Web 1.5. But the guru of Web 2.0, Tim O'Reilly, would say that AdSense, in fact, in an article he wrote in 2005, he listed AdSense as one of the 2.0, going from DoubleClick to 2.0. Now AdSense, and we'll talk about it later, doesn't do a whole lot of 2.0 type stuff, but it does, as we know, it indexes a page and serves up ads based upon what that page content is. The other ones that he listed on his list, blogging, everybody's pretty familiar with that, would agree that's Web 2.0, and wikis. Another one that I had on the previous slide was video ads. And while he doesn't have that on here, I think most of us will recognize that video ads came along with the advent of Web 2.0. So if you would like to come down, young lady, and grab yourself a candy bar, you get first choice. You don't want to come down? I'll throw one up to you. What do you want, Snickers? Okay. Thank you. You're welcome. Okay, next question. Maybe I'm going the wrong way. Sorry, guys. Backspace instead of enter key. You knew that way, yeah. E. Okay. So which of the following sites would you classify as Web 1.0? We're going backwards a little bit now. Any hands for this one? Hey, I got a hand right down here. You can get your own candy bar, okay? A would be the right answer. YouTube, Facebook, Flickr, obviously are all Web 2.0. Google search, I think on purpose, is really not Web 2.0. They've kept a simple interface for performance purposes, and everybody uses it. It's pretty easy to use. So, I guess the lesson there is that Web 2.0, just because it's new doesn't always mean it's better. I think a lot of you might have found that in your promotion. You may find out after this presentation that Web 2.0 isn't really for you as far as the promotion you do. It's really dependent upon what's important to you and what you're trying to do as an affiliate. Okay, last question. What would you say is Web 2.0 is most often characterized? And put your thinking hat on as a user here, and as an affiliate marketer, what would a user say? Yes, sir? Ajax? That's not the answer.
User interactivity.
That's not the answer. Okay, we only got two other choices, so anybody? I've already asked Colony, sorry. Anybody? B? That's not the answer. Anybody want to guess at another one? Yeah, up in the back, D. Okay. Actually, users, the public, and again, you guys are thinking like affiliates. You're thinking, you guys know the web better than a typical user, but think about it, Grandma Mabel or Aunt Sally or whatever, and she would think of video, and my son thinks of video as Web 2. He may think of Facebook actually as Web 2.0, but that's not on the list here. I didn't give you that as a choice. But video content is what people most often think about it. But I think for our purposes, those other three that you all pointed out are the three, to me, that comprise Web 2.0 for affiliates, which is a little bit different than Web 2.0 for everybody else. Sir, if you'd like a candy bar, I don't know if I can get it up there, throw it up there, but if you want to come down and grab one, feel free. Okay, now here's the big definition. I'm not going to leave this up there for very long. I just thought it was a good definition by Eric Reyes in Revenue Newsletter about a year ago. And what I want to point out is a few key words in this definition. He talks about participatory web. Web 2.0 is really defined by people participating in web pages. And the second one I want to point out is down in the bottom of the first paragraph. He talks about RSS feeds. So feeds or data, being able to access data dynamically is important for Web 2.0 for affiliates. And last, I want to point out, as we had on the previous slide, Ajax. I mean, that's kind of an obvious thing. You see little swirlies going on the page, that's definitely Web 2.0. And so he points a lot of those out in his definition of Web 2.0 here. So we talk about Web 2.0 for the general public, but for affiliates, in my mind, these are the factors that make up potentially what Web 2.0 is. In my mind, they need to have at least one of these. And I would think that, we had AdSense on the list before. Number 2 is kind of what AdSense does. They're not really user specific, they're just provide dynamic data based upon page. But if you have all three of these, you're really pretty sophisticated Web 2.0. But user interactivity, that participatory web, is very important in order to define Web 2.0. And it's very important for you as an affiliate because now you're getting the user involved in a promotion. You're qualifying that lead a lot more, whether you give them a search capability so that when they click through, the Toshiba TV that they were looking for is the actual item that they'll end up on instead of just a general banner that says, come and find Toshiba TVs. And you're giving them that capability to interact with your web page or your ad. Okay, let's drop back a bit to Web 1.0. I think you'll all recognize these types of things which would be considered Web 1.0. You'll see that feeds are on here, but what I'm talking about here is more the traditional way of using feeds, not necessarily through a widget. If you may be an affiliate that has developed an application or use an application that takes feeds and does various things with it. And so that's, in most sense, considered Web 1.0. We'll talk about, and I'll show you a little bit later, how RSS feeds are being used in Web 2.0 type applications. Okay, now let's delve a little bit into Web 2.0. The first part of this is talking about creatives, just the things that you can go today onto affiliate networks or to pop shops or a variety of vendors and find a creative that easily is configurable for you. You can stick it on your site and you can start promoting. So we've got widgets and gadgets. I mean, widgets, what pretty much everybody else calls them other than Google and Microsoft, who call them gadgets. And here I'm talking about widgets and gadgets that are web-based, not really desktop-based. I mean, you can make widgets or provide widgets that are desktop-based, but primarily for affiliate marketing, it tends to be widgets that are web-based, on somebody's web page, a blog, or whatever. And they use as back-end data, product feeds, listing feeds. Listing feeds are what I consider to be Google's feeds for the most part. And then various optimization technologies to make that widget work to its optimal for your web page, for the affiliates. Then there's in-text ads, and I'll show you what an example of these are if you don't know, but in-text ads pretty much just use JavaScript, but they've got some advanced functionality that reads the page and places links on a page based upon the content of that page. So if you have a heavily contented page, in-text ads might be something to consider. And then last, video ads. They still are, in my mind, still in their infancy. People use them in a variety of ways. Anybody use video ads in any way in their promotions? Okay, how do you get an idea of how you use them? Is it just plain video, or do you have click-throughs on what?
Plain video.
Plain video.
And click-throughs to the specials.
To the offer or whatever that you're.
They can embed it on their site, and they can enter their own video.
Okay. Oh, good. That's pretty. That's a little more sophisticated. Anybody else want to share? Yes, sir.
Just do a ton of stuff on YouTube, throwing up stuff on there constantly, making sure that there's decent links in all the description fields. So video with links.
So the video is playing by itself, and you're relying upon the links that are alongside of it.
The video too.
Oh, there are some in the video as well. Okay. And do you use a particular package to do that, or do you do that on your own? How do you? I'm sorry.
iMovie on the Mac.
Okay. Okay. Good. Anybody else? Okay, so videos, there's a lot more that can be done with videos. Eventually, you'll probably see where you'll get paid as an affiliate for how long a video runs, not just for clicks that happen around or on the video, but if someone actually plays the video and plays it for 30 seconds or plays it to the end, you'll start seeing that affiliate networks will be, and others who use videos to promote will be paying you for the run of that video. Because there's value in branding, and so if somebody's watching a video, there's value to a merchant in branding. Okay, so what is a widget? And we've all dealt with them, and it's kind of like Web 2.0. Everybody's got a definition for widgets. This is one that I found. I think is pretty succinct. And what I would add to it is that, in a case of an affiliate, you want one that makes you a lot of money. That's what widgets are to you. Is not just fun or interactive tools, but there's something that will help make you a lot of money. And some of the providers of widgets I've listed here, you all may be familiar with them. Amazon's probably the predominant provider of widgets in the industry. And a few examples. Again, I've got the AdSense one because I had a picture of an AdSense ad and I didn't know where to put it, so this is a good place to put it in the presentation. And I don't know if I really would consider it much of a widget, but it is dynamic. But the main thing in my mind about a widget is the interactivity that it provides to a user, or the utilization of the data that a user brings with him to a page. Okay, so now what are in-text ads? They're fairly much JavaScript placed on a page that actually renders or changes the rendering of the page. I'll show you what an example looks like. Here's some of the providers of in-text ads. And here's an example of what one might look like. You've seen the double underline links. That's pretty synonymous with in-text ads. I actually haven't had a lot of experience with this. I don't know if anybody in the room has. How do they convert? Anybody haven't used in-text ads? And because I know they require you to hover over this and then, click on this or watch a video or whatever. Anybody? Okay, well. That's kind of the reaction I got last year when I asked about in-text ads too. So. Okay, now video ads, we talked a little bit about them. There's specifications for them. Internet Advertising Bureau, what how do you pay out on a video ad. But most affiliates, I tend to use them, as some of these people have said, just basically alongside their other copy. A video of the product, something that somebody can play and get to know more about what they're going to buy. In a case of a merchant, there needs to be some clickable links within the ad itself so that you as an affiliate can start getting your traffic tracked and ultimately lead to a sale. Some of the providers of video ads, Google AdSense, believe it or not, if you turn that feature on, you can get that within Google AdSense, and I think you might all know about Web Video Zone. They're a fairly big provider of web video ads. And typical video ad, as we've all seen, with a little play button on it. That's kind of typical of a video ad. Okay, so let's now transition a little bit into some tools, some things you can use in order to help manage what you're doing as an affiliate. Web 2.0 tools. I found this article by Sam Harrelson. It's actually in last month's Feedfront magazine, if you all saw it or didn't miss it. He lists 10 of these. Most of them I've not used, but some of you may have. They're tools that you can use instead of going out and buying a package of software, maybe using a typical thing, which might be Outlook or whatever. These tools, not only are they Web 2.0 based and online based, but they interact with each other. In his article, if you care to go online and read it, you'll actually be able to find a lot of interactivity. And I think that's the cool part about some of the tools that he's recommended, is that interactivity. I'm sure a lot of you have your own ways of managing things. I think what Sam was trying to do is provide a list of possible other things you might not have known about, and they're fun to go check out and see what they do. So now we're going to get into a little more complicated and more advanced Web 2.0 techniques and strategies. Depending upon your level of expertise, these could be overwhelming to you or not. I mean, they offer, it's kind of like in a stock market, the higher the risk, potentially the greater the reward. And I think the same thing applies with Web 2.0, is that the more sophisticated the technique, generally, it doesn't mean you're always going to get that reward, but you have a higher tendency to get that reward. And a lot of times it's because, if you think it through, of the viral nature of what you can do with these kind of techniques, you can actually have people working for you instead of just you working to either do SEM campaigns or whatever to promote traffic. People will actually pick up these things and promote traffic for you. So some examples that I'll go through quickly is the use of Twitter, mainly community-based communications. Some networks are using them now to communicate with their affiliates and merchants. If you have a community, if you're a particular affiliate and that's how you're promoting, Twitter is something to consider, and I'll go through what that's all about. Yahoo Pipes, another one that's very interesting, a lot more sophisticated as far as setting it up. But you can actually aggregate feeds together with this. So if you have feeds, product feeds, that you can actually put into to Yahoo, you can actually allow people to search, and I'll show you some examples of that, search on multiple feeds at one time. Widget and gadget directories, I'll show you how you can make use of those to promote your particular widgets and to actually get people to work for you. And then last, Facebook apps. There was an article, about a year ago I read that said Facebook had like the worst traffic on the internet for affiliate promotions. Does anybody feel that way? Is anybody using Facebook at all for promoting in affiliate marketing? Not a whole lot. Okay, well, we'll go into that a little bit, and I'll show you some of how people are using that, and maybe it'll give you some ideas on what you can do in the future as well. Okay, so Twitter, if you're not familiar with it, again, we'll go through these just to get everybody on the same page. Twitter is just a communication tool. This is the CNN Twitter page, if you will. So as different articles get published on CNN, they'll put them into Twitter, and you can get them on your cell phone, mobile phone, or on a web page. And you can actually also sign up for the RSS feed for CNN, the Twitter RSS feed, so you can dynamically see all these in your browser or your readers. Pipes, Yahoo Pipes is a tool set that allows you to go in and grab different feeds, stick them into the system, and Yahoo takes care of all of the updating of those feeds for you. You don't have to go dynamically and link to those feeds and and make any of those feeds. You don't have to work the hard end of programming the feeds. You can let Yahoo Pipes do it for you. In Widget Box, widget directory, thousands of widgets. Most of the widgets aren't affiliate related. The surprising things I'll show you later is that I could only find about 100 widgets that were affiliate related. And that is kind of surprising because it's a real great way to get people to work for you, is to build a widget and let them pick it up and run with it. And last, Facebook applications. Everybody here got a Facebook page? Okay, I'm assuming so. I even have one, you know, and I get internal grief from my kids because they think it's a little embarrassing for their dad to, you know, to be on Facebook. But it's a pretty powerful tool, I think, even can be for affiliate marketing. And I'll show you later how some people are using it. It's pretty interesting stuff, and I'm so sure that we'll see a lot more affiliates making use of it and figuring out better ways to make it work for them. Okay, let's talk a little bit about how you can use Web 2.0 in simple ways and in advanced ways. And I'll give you some examples through here, and maybe I'll again give you some ideas of what you might do to make this happen for yourselves. Okay, here's Amazon, use of Amazon widgets. Amazon, I think, has 22 widgets in their associate program. And probably the most prevalent one is their search widget, which allows anybody to put in a search term and search for any product they want. But they've got all variety. They've got video widgets. They've got a bunch of things. How many here are Amazon associates? There's quite a few. Okay. Well, obviously, they're big in this space. They have a lot of products that you can sell. And how many of you use Amazon widgets? Oh, quite a few. Okay, good. You find that they're very effective? How does that versus just a plain ad, or anybody? Yeah, you like them? Hit or miss? Yeah. Now, is that just on a content page you have that you?
It might be partially content. Sometimes I use one of the widgets where it does a double line and searches stuff, and sometimes it's picking up stuff. I'm like, where are you getting that from?
Oh, really?
It's a word that it finds. It doesn't have content.
Yeah.
It's do what I'm doing.
So are you feeding it any dynamic information so it gets, you know, ties into your page, or are you just letting it read your page? How are you using it?
Most of the time I let it read the page. In many cases it's good, but there's times where it's setting in, it just comes off totally.
Yeah, it's funny when those dynamic, you know, readers, like Google AdSense, you know, it reads the page and tries to give you ads that relate to your page. A guy that works for me sent me a link, and he said, this is, you know, kind of funny how Google AdSense doesn't work for you. The page was about blood diamonds, you know, don't buy diamonds, and, you know, and then when you looked there was a Google ad for De Beers diamonds, you know, buy diamonds. So it doesn't always work that way. And in some sense, that's why I like to see widgets that give you, as the page owner, some more play. You can dynamically feed it either keywords or whatever, because there is that occasional time that they're not reading the page like you're reading the page, or you're hoping the page to be read. So the search widget is probably the most prevalent Amazon widget. With all of the widgets, both Amazon's widgets and everybody else's widgets, really, you have some amount of flexibility in color and size and things that you can set the widget to do. And Amazon is no different. They're very easy to use, or if they're not easy to use, I wouldn't use them. But they're made to be easy to use, and you can grab the code and stick it on your site. Another simple use, and this isn't necessarily, they're using affiliate links here, so that's why I wanted to bring it up. And I also wanted to bring it up for purposes of the concept. Because what Free Rice is doing here, you know, there's a third world countries, there's a real shortage, and so therefore a high price for rice. And they're encouraging users to come here virally, if you will, and to just do this trivia challenge. And as you answer the questions, they fill a bowl with rice. And so they will actually, according to here, they will actually send, or on your behalf, because you went ahead and filled a bowl, they'll send some rice to someplace in the third world. And so they have some sponsors, but these are affiliate links. So conceptually, if you think about it, they're using a little bit of a social happening, if you will, because you're going to tell your friends, if you're so inclined, that, hey, if you want to help out the third world rice thing, go to this site, and you'll play this game for a little while. You'll fill up a rice bowl, and you'll feel good. And that's what they're hoping, and they're hoping that you know, they'll donate some of the proceeds. But, you know, conceptually, if you think about from your perspective of creating something similar to this in order to promote with, that might not be so charitable. I mean, that's not necessarily bad, but something that is viral, that's what I wanted to bring this up, is that this is a very viral thing. Apparently, they've donated tons of rice this way. So people come in and, you know, will play for a little while, and they have some spare time and donate some rice. These are actually, I think, sponsors through LinkShare, I believe. Okay, so Yahoo Pipes. Here's an example of more advanced type Web 2.0 functionality. This is again, Amazon, but I'm not sure if Amazon created this particular pipe or if someone else did. They're using Amazon feeds to actually allow you to grab a bunch of RSS links together and make it searchable. So what have they done? If you go a little bit under the hood, you see that you have an ability, and I don't know what the category code is, but those of you who do Amazon probably understand that. You put in your category code, you put in your associate tag, and then they have a 0, 1, or 2 for feed style. This happens to be feed style 0, which does not give you an actual graphic next to the text below, but you can see under the list that there's some text that they pull off of the Amazon feed in order to put that on their site. So what do you do then? Once you set this up, you just go ahead and ask for embedded code, or ask for a code for whatever particular page you happen to have, you'd be promoting from. So it can be WordPress, blog, or whatever, but most typically it might be the embedded code. And you end up with something that looks like this, which you could then just sit on your page. And so everything that you've done before that, once your page loads, you know, you'll see the results on your page, and they'll be updated because, well, they'll be updated as long as the feed's updated, but typically someone like Amazon will update their feed pretty consistently. And so you'll have fresh content all the time for your. There's a lot of, the other thing, let me go back a little bit here, because I think you can actually, and I'm not saying it right now, you can clone these pipes. So if you're not familiar with pipes and you want to start using it, you go find one that looks like it might be one you want to use, and you clone it, and you'll be able to figure out, I think pretty simply, how you do it. So you can make your own copy of it, and then just go ahead and start tailoring it to what your needs are. Okay, so Facebook apps. Facebook apps, as you can imagine, Facebook being a social network, tend to have to be social oriented. You don't just want to put an ad up. I mean, Facebook puts their own ads up on the left-hand side here, but as an app, you want to make it fun for people to virally come and find your app and want to use it, and maybe tell their friends about it and have them use it, and then hopefully leading to a sale for you. Here's some examples here of some affiliate apps that are on Facebook. I don't have any idea how these particular apps go. It turns out that, and the same thing happened when I looked at Widget Box, which I'll get to later. Some of the affiliate apps / widgets are not the kind you want to tell your kids about. They're more adult oriented, if you will. So, but you'll find some on here that aren't. A lot of them in Facebook I found actually promote affiliate programs, not necessarily aren't being used by affiliates to promote merchant products. But there's a lot of room, I think, for affiliates to come in and create apps that actually will promote merchants. So here's a good example of one that does, application which for coupons. So if you, as a Facebook user, put this app on your site, different coupons will come up every day you go to your Facebook page, or probably every time you go to your Facebook page. And then you can use these coupons or not, and obviously tell your friends about it. They're hoping with this app. You have a question?
Yeah, is it okay to ask questions?
Oh, yeah, please do. I'm sorry.
What's in it for Facebook to have affiliate apps on there? I mean, is there some type of a rev share, or what's their interest in that?
No, Facebook, as far as I know, they don't charge for you to put an app on the site, and it's just, it depends upon whether people want to bother picking it up. So they have all kinds of apps. You have to follow their rules and place the apps, you put the apps on there in a certain way. But you know, at that point then it becomes, you know, if people are using you, if you're not, you're going to be at the bottom of every search, and ultimately the app won't be very effective. But, I mean, does anybody know? I don't really, I've never actually put an app on Facebook, but does it cost you anything?
No, but I just read an article in Fortune that said that YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, they're not making money, and they're leaving it up to somebody else to make the money. They're just getting the traffic.
Right. Well, you know, Facebook does have these little ads on the left-hand side, and you're right, I don't know how much money they make from those. You know, when you go to Facebook, at least when I go there, you're not going to buy anything, you know, you're generally going there to socialize. And, but that's the idea behind, I think, some of the apps that are created for affiliate marketing is that they are tending towards a social bent, you know, giving them something that satisfies them. I'll show you one here in a little bit, quiz-based, if you will, giving them something that satisfies them and hopefully leading to a sale that's related to the quiz. But this is an example of a coupon app, which I think is actually pretty good. It runs pretty well. Anybody else? Okay. This was surprising to me. This is Facebook. I typed in affiliate network, and this is what I found. Now, if you have Cafe Press and you use them, and you use this app, you can actually put your, I don't know what they call it, your affiliate ID in for Cafe Press, and you can utilize it on your blog, your page, for people to actually generate traffic and sales for you. But I was surprised to see that no other networks are listed here. I mean, there's other networks with widgets, and you know, would think that they would have applications in here as well, including my own network. Surprised to see we weren't here. Because you want to take advantage of every outlet you possibly can. If you can get people to come in here and you can offer an application that they find to be socially interesting and still might get you some traffic, you know, it's free, if you will. Just, it's cost of building the app, I guess. Here's an example down in this lower right-hand corner of one of the affiliate apps I found. It's a quiz on various social things and leading ultimately to an ad being shown that's related to this particular quiz. So, you know, what kind of drunk are you? You know, but I mean, but the marriage one was the one that I tried, and it leads to, you know, things about marriage, wedding gowns and the like. So they're trying to get your interest with some social bent and then leading to hopefully a sale of some product. Okay, widget box. I did the same kind of search on widget box for affiliate related widgets. I found 100 of them. There's thousands of widgets on widget box, and they're typically more, you know, widgets are more bent for people to have content like either RSS feeds about the news on their site or weather or those kinds of things. But this guy, I don't know who he is, he goes by the name Affiliate, did some interesting, anybody in here want to own up to this being them? Okay. You know, they did something interesting because they created content that effectively anybody might want to pick up and stick on their site because they want the top country songs, top iTunes country songs. And so if you look, you'll see the number of installs. So there are people that have picked up his creatives, if you will, with his affiliate ID in them, and they're just putting them on their site as content. So as someone sees that on a friend's page and clicks on through, they're actually helping this affiliate. So he's, you know, for the cost of building a widget and sticking it on Widgetbox, he's got other people working for him. Here's one of his widgets, top alternative songs. So he has a couple of them that aren't maybe as clean looking as this one is, but it lists the songs on iTunes, and he gets a feed, I suspect, from iTunes what these top alternative songs are, and people click on them, and off they go. And so what people can do is they can come in and they can grab the code, again, similar to what we saw earlier with Yahoo Pipes, for all variety of websites, Blogger, WordPress, whatever, or just embedded code. They can copy that and put it in their site. So in their minds, they're putting something on their site that is just providing some content, some dynamic content. Okay. So I guess what I want to leave you with, I guess, today is that there's a lot of things that can be done in Web 2.0. I've only touched on a sampling. Some of you are probably doing other things, either more sophisticated or certainly different than this. But there's a lot that can be done. I don't think there's a lot being done in Web 2.0 by affiliates. I think there's a lot of traditional ads still going on. And I would encourage you all to keep building and pushing the envelope, looking at some of these techniques, seeing where they can take you, what kinds of, getting other people to work for you without having to pay them. I mean, I think that's a pretty nice thing. Do you have any questions? Or at this point, I'd like to have people, if they want to share some ideas or things that they've been doing in Web 2.0 with everybody. I've got candy that I'm giving out, I'm bribing you guys to help out with either questions or sharing. Anybody want to take the opportunity?
I guess I'll kick off with this.
Thanks.
I represent a network, and we've been using Web 2.0 technologies as far as the user interface in our system to make navigation easier, as well as to communicate with our affiliates. So the next stage that we'd like to do is to really build out a lot of the widget type things, because it's what everyone's asking for. But it was really, when we built the network, just to communicate, it was the most effective way to do that.
Oh, yeah.
It really helped. And the feedback we got from doing that is encouraging us to build more Web 2.0 based.
Right. Yeah, we actually, I went to Web 2.0 conference in San Francisco in April, and they talked a lot about that. A lot of the merchant sites, in your case, have built the technology to make it more fun and easier for their user base to use their interface. And that's where a lot of Web 2.0 is on sites. And affiliates aren't using them so much, and even networks aren't necessarily providing that technology on the outside, but more and more will be. And I think that's, and it'll be Ajax-oriented probably in your case, I suspect, too. If you're going to give it to an affiliate, it'll be something that will be dynamically accessing your data and giving it out there. Any other comments or anybody want to share what they're doing? We probably let you guys break early for lunch, I guess, if I got no other questions. Nobody else wants to get a candy bar. By the way, you get a candy bar. And the gentleman up there is going to come out and get one, too.
I'm a Red Sox fan.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. I'm a lifelong Red Sox fan myself. So. Anybody else?
Is Ajax usable on mobile sites? Is it friendly?
No, because most mobile browsers until the iPhone and Instinct don't allow JavaScript to run. Ajax is, pretty much JavaScript based. But with the advent of, in fact, when I was at Web 2.0, I went to a session and the one guy was really encouraged by the iPhone and the Instincts following suit. And I think a lot of phones are going that way, where you get the whole web on your phone instead of some rendered version of it. And when you start doing that, then you'll have the same thing you have on your computer, just on on your phone. Yeah, just tinier. Yeah, and for people like me, maybe yourself, tiny is not so good. So yeah, exactly. One that talks to me would be great. So anything else? Okay. Thank you very, very much for attending. Enjoy lunch.